We've all been there when someone asks for help, whether it be a work commitment or a social event. And despite you not having time or capacity or even wanting to go, your body is screaming no. You smile and you nod and you say, yeah, sure. And you take on that extra commitment, knowing that it is going to cost you some time, effort, energy, and very likely some peace of mind as well. The mistake a lot of people make is that they go above and beyond to help others. They always do what is expected of them, always pleasing, always fixing, always helping. And they can form an identity of like being the person who holds it all together. And when you are this person who has always helped and been kind and accommodating and considerate, then it can feel really out of character to say no. It can be really difficult to say no because you don't want to let people down. You don't want to disappoint them. And I get it. I have also been there. The challenge with this is when you take on more on your to-do list, on your social events, right? Perhaps you're doing a project for your boss that you're already stretched thin and you don't have capacity for, and you're doing this, it's really easy to feel resentful for the other person of like, why are they making me do this? Why do they expect that I help them with this, even though they know that my plate is already full? Right? It's easy to feel resentful. And it's also easy to feel resentful for yourself of like, how did I let this happen? What am I doing here? Why am I doing this? Right? And to start feeling like you have no power to change it. Like you've just got to suck it up and do it anyway. Have you ever noticed how the longer that you silence yourself and don't speak up, the more that the resentment builds? I've had this with friends in the past where they've come to me with issues and they've vented and I've held space for them and I've provided solutions and advice, and they didn't apply that. And the very next week they're here with me going over the exact same thing. And I'm thinking like, if you had just listened and applied it, then things would be very different. We wouldn't be having this conversation. But I didn't speak that. And so I'm sitting there thinking, why am I even here? Why is this person venting this to me again? And I can start to feel resentful because I have bit my tongue. If I'd spoken up, things would be different. And if you're someone that always does what other people want, you go with the group, go with the flow, then what about what you want? There's a list of things that you would love to do, and that keeps getting pushed back and back and back for another day. But that day never comes because you keep filling in the time with other people's requests. When you say yes, when you really mean to say no, two things happen. The first is that you push aside your desires, which causes you to feel resentful. The second is that you dishonor your truth. And so you begin to feel powerless. Like, I can't change this. It's just how my life is. And not really feeling like you have a say in the matter because you're not having a say. Your yeses and nos are how you move about the world. It places you in the line of opportunities, in the line of things that are going to either bring you fulfillment or drain you. And your voice is how you communicate in this world, how you move about this world. And so if you are not honoring your voice and you are saying one thing while thinking another, then you're dishonoring yourself. And it's very likely that you will steer off path and go towards a path where life doesn't really feel like yours. It feels like you're a stranger in your own life because it's all of other people's stuff. It's not the stuff that you would love to do. And how can you expect to build a fulfilling life if you don't say yes to the things that fulfill you? Because each time you say yes to something else, you're saying no to another thing. That no is to your desires, your passions, right? Your joy. And you're saying yes to all these other things because a part of you has deemed it more important than what you want. It can be really easy to start to feel disconnected from our lives when we do this. And another thing that I noticed when I was in this people-pleasing way of being is that the more I said yes to people, the more that people expected me to do things. I became the person that people could always fall back on, always rely on, always ask for help at the last minute and say yes, right? And unfortunately, people started to take this for granted. People would load things onto me and give me more to do because I was saying yes, because they didn't believe that I was going to say no. And if there was help available and Amanda was going to do it, then why not? Right? So this is a challenge in navigating this because you don't want your friends to see you as a helper. You want them to see you as a friend. The way to break out of this habit is to start honoring your yeses and nos, to speak clearly what is on your mind without fear, without filter, without overthinking, without hesitation. It's about speaking your truth and having your mind and your mouth speak in alignment, not saying one thing and thinking another. For example, if you don't want to go to the event or you don't have time, then say no. If you don't have capacity to take on that work commitment, then say no. And I also get that this can be difficult and it can be uncomfortable. And so this is where boundaries come in. Boundaries can be used as tools. Instead of simply saying, no, that's not for me, I can't help with that. It's, no, I can't do that right now. But what about we look at that next week when I have a bit more free time? Or why don't we reschedule for another date? Right? Setting boundaries opens up the conversation for you to accommodate what it is that you actually want rather than just going with the first suggestion. And the more that you start to do this and exercise boundaries and speak your truth, the more that you actually gain respect for that. And I know it can feel uncomfortable and like people won't respect me if I've always helped them and now I'm denying them help. But have you ever lost respect for someone for setting a boundary? If they said that they couldn't help and they could help you later, then have you lost respect for them, or have you respected that and gained respect for them and gone, okay, I honor that. It's because they are speaking their truth. It's also going to help you be happier because you make more time for the things that make you feel good, right? And the more that you do this, the more that you build your confidence muscle, and that confidence spills over into all areas of your life, not just your work, but your friendships and your love life as well. Now, a slight caveat here is that communication skills alone are not always enough to speak what is on your mind clearly. A lot of people try and do assertiveness training and talk therapy to try and practice these boundaries and speak up. But if your body is bracing for impact each time you go and try and say no or speak your truth, then there is a deeper issue at play. If every time you go to speak up and express yourself, your body contracts and shuts down, it's because your body and mind believe that it is unsafe to do so. And so we need to look at why it is feeling unsafe so then it can start to feel safe. So then you can practice this with more ease. Your body is always communicating. And so those contractions are always a communication of where your nervous system is feeling unsafe. Your nervous system isn't trying to keep you small or to harm you. It's quite literally doing its job. It's being loyal to you and it is protecting you. And so somewhere along the line, if you had experienced that speaking up gets you in trouble, or it's unsafe to speak up, or no one wants to hear what you have to say, right? All of these stories are embedded within your system. And so when it comes to the time and the experience where you are about to speak up, your body remembers and it says, no, don't do that. And it pulls you back because it's literally doing what it's meant to do. It's meant to protect you. And I get it. This was me for a while too. No amount of learning communication or willing my way to speak up actually helped me break the habit of people pleasing. I had to go a little bit deeper. And the number one thing that really helped me gain the confidence to speak up and to set boundaries and to say what was on my mind was looking at the beliefs and the emotions underneath. The beliefs of maybe people don't want to hear what I have to say. Maybe what I have to say isn't important. Maybe it'll get me in trouble. All of these stories were contributing to my shyness and reservedness and hesitation in vocalizing what it was that I wanted. Saying no was really hard. It sucked and I didn't want to let others down. I didn't want to hurt others. And so the work in rewiring this, the deeper reprogramming work was what helped me change this. And then I had to teach my nervous system that it was okay, that it was safe to be in front of other people, that it was safe to express what I wanted. It was safe and not selfish to go after my wants and needs and desires. I let go of fears of hurting others, fears of letting people down, fear of what other people might think of me or say about me. All of this deconditioning work within my system just helped my body soften so that when the time came, it was much easier to practice. It didn't feel like I was fighting an uphill battle. Rather, it was already in place. It was just a matter of doing it. And the reason that this is important is because the way that your mind works is that you've got 10% of your conscious mind, which is your everyday thinking, your willpower. And then you've got your 90% subconscious mind. And the 90% being more powerful, if it believes a certain thing, then it's more likely that it's going to override the conscious effort. Conscious effort does work in a lot of regards, and in breaking people-pleasing habits and learning to say no, it can work, but it can feel really like an uphill battle in that you're constantly pushing against this fear. You're constantly practicing. Your body says no, and then you revert back. It takes 66 days to cement in a habit as a new way of being. So it's a long road of pushing and willing your way to a different way of operating. When if you can go within the subconscious and find the limitations that are preventing you from saying exactly what is on your mind and from speaking clearly, and you can challenge them and change them within your mind, then it becomes a lot easier to create this habit change. You don't need the 66 days. You can actually do it in a really quick amount of time because your body is on board with what you were doing. And so it's like swimming now with the current rather than going upstream against it. One thing that's important to understand is your comfort zone is comfortable because you have done it for a long time. Outside of your comfort zone is fear. And then on the other end of that fear is learning and growth. And so it's being able to push past this fear and act regardless. So you sort of have to become comfortable in being uncomfortable in sitting with the fear. And now, what I suggest in terms of willpowering your way with your conscious mind to create new habits is get within your subconscious so that you can rewire it. Now, this looks like sitting with discomfort. It may be discomfort for 10 minutes while you explore the stories and the times where you felt that silence was going to be the safer option, right? Where you decided that you would keep silent and you wouldn't speak up and you would please others. It's about sitting with this version of you and rewriting the story, giving that version of you a different outcome, a different script. What did that version of you need to know in that time? That it was safe, that you were supported. You can give this to yourself within the context of a 10-minute meditation to then rewire your brain to be able to feel safer, to rewire your nervous system to feel safer, to speak up. And that is where the communication skills and the training comes in practicing your boundaries and speaking up and pushing past the discomfort and the fear. But only after you've done the deeper rewiring work. Otherwise, it's just going to be uphill and constantly hitting these barriers because that 90% of your mind is going to almost always override that 10%. And this is what I've come to love about self-healing is not only that you can accelerate your results and achieve your goals quicker, but it's actually a beautiful process of getting to know yourself and getting to choose, like being consciously aware of how you're thinking and feeling and choosing what you want to experience rather than just subconsciously or unconsciously living from your past experiences. Now, if you want to learn how to self-heal, how to rewire your mind, how to create instantaneous changes within your subconscious mind so that then you can go after what you want with a lot more ease, then I have a community space that I would love to extend the invite for, in that we go deeper on this healing work. We go deeper in terms of tools. I have a 4-step system on how to rewire your mind so that you can start to apply this work in just 10 minutes a day and then achieve massive growth because your wiring is becoming on board with who you're becoming. If you want more info on that, then the link is in the bio below. Thank you for coming on and have a lovely day. I'll speak to you soon.